State of Care.
Hello and welcome to the State of Care podcast, episode 2. This show is presented to you by myself, Afra Sefa.
Hello all, and myself, Leonard Tanner.
Today we have a very special guest, Micheal Garinkel. Michael's been nice enough to come and open up from a user's perspective through his personal experiences in caring for his brother. From a young age, Michael's been caring and managing communications with authorities and other stakeholders on behalf of his parents due to language barriers and a lack of resources provided by the authorities, which in some cases, with some non-fluent English-speaking families, a lack of communication can have an effect on access and resources available to individuals who really need them.
And that was just one of the obstacles Michael and his family have faced over the years. I believe there's a lot more he wants to share with our community. Michael, welcome to the State of Care podcast. Thank you for joining us. Please tell our listeners about your journey and the journey your family have gone through over the years.
First of all, thank you for having me on your podcast today to share my experiences on the matters you just mentioned. I've not personally come across any podcasts that discuss such matters, so it's great to kind of see the fantastic work you guys are doing in providing such a platform to do so.
No worries at all. Untold stories like yours are the reasons why we have a podcast such as this. So just to give you just to get a bit more of an insight into your earlier life and your situation.
So the topic at hand is my brother. He's the one with the disability. And in terms of the early life, we always knew there was going to be some issues. He was kind of in and out of hospital for the first 2 years of his life, at times for long periods of time. So that was obviously kind of very difficult to kind of go through. And with his condition, there's still no name for the condition till this day. Some doctors have said it's global developmental delay. Some specialists have said it's intellectual disability. And some have just said it's just a learning disability. So there's still no clarity in that from an early stage, which has been quite difficult.
So have yourself or your family done any research to find out if there's any other individuals with similar conditions?
Yeah, I mean, we've done numerous amount of researches, whether it's my own search on the internet or actively speaking to the disability departments in Hammersmith and Fulham, or whenever we've had meetings bringing up that question as well. It's just such a broad disability, so to speak, that there's not one name for the condition.
Right. And when was the last time you had a doctor or a professional revisit?
Probably 2 years ago, just before he moved to his last college, because he's had 3 different kind of special colleges that he's gone to. Right. And every time you transition from one to another, they do assessments. So that topic's always brought up, and it's still the same scenario.
Okay, I mean, how does this make you feel?
To begin with, obviously when I was a bit younger, and obviously my parents as well, it did kind of feel, was it laziness? Was it a lack of research or a lack of any education on their behalf? But I think as times have gone by and as the years have gone by, you kind of just realise that potentially there just isn't. Because we have come across some good people in the recent past who've kind of explained it for clarity's sake. And yeah, I think it is what it is. There's no kind of one name for it. It's just a combination of the 3 that I probably mentioned earlier.
And how's this impacted things such as your brother's education?
To begin with, it was extremely difficult at such a young age, especially when he was in nursery and reception. It was like he was kind of the odd one out, so to speak. Obviously, he was the only person in the class with a disability. Everybody else was okay. So you kind of had one teacher dealing with 24 students, and then you've got my brother there in the class. So there wasn't that time dedicated to him to help. So that was extremely difficult. There was obviously a lack of qualified teachers, not at the same level, him not being at the same level as his classmates. And obviously the children as well. They're only children, so you can't expect much from them. They didn't know how to kind of operate around him, so to speak, in terms of interaction. So it was quite difficult until he moved to his special needs school just after reception.
And with that, I mean, what challenges did that present?
I guess for him, probably like loneliness, probably being kind of like the odd one out, kind of being lost. That's kind of the things we used to kind of hear and see for ourselves. I mean, you could see in the playground, because it was one of those big fences where you could just see, like, you know, when you see the kids playing in the playground, you could kind of see him being by himself sometimes, kind of not knowing what's going on. So that was difficult at first, but I mean, once he moved to the kind of special needs school, he did get the kind of attention, so to speak, that he needed.
Right, I can imagine the other individuals in school probably would be really young and probably not really aware of his situation, and
definitely.
probably not understand it themselves as well. Yeah, but sorry, you didn't actually mention how old is your brother?
He's 26.
Oh, he's 26 now. Yeah. Okay, I see. A question I did have for you was actually, did he show any signs of did he show signs of it, how it made him feel? How did he express himself?
Because he works more off kind of body language and energy like that. It's, as I mentioned, it was a sense of kind of lost. He just, it's like he was physically there, but he wasn't physically there, if that kind of makes sense. He would just kind of be watching everything around him go by. So it was, I can't actually tell you how he felt. I will never know that at that time. But seeing that, it was so difficult because you just want him to interact, and he probably did want to, but he couldn't actually do it. So that was very difficult to see, and very, very kind of heartbreaking, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, were there any fears or safety concerns when he was at school or away from home?
When he was much younger, definitely, because you just think anything can happen, whether it's, I don't know, falling over or being bullied, or I don't know, any sort of, anything could happen, and you would never know what it really was because he was never able to kind of vocalize.
Right.
You'd have to kind of assume based on, is he looking at a certain area for where that incident happened? Is he looking at a certain child?
Yeah.
It was kind of
hard to identify.
Of the kind of, but as he got older, it's gotten better over the years. Obviously, as you get older, he's kind of growing more, and observing more, and the communication has been much better. But at a young age, it was difficult. So yeah.
On that point, what was communication like on the better days?
Once again, growing up, it was, as he was not able to vocalize himself the way we do. He did so through body language and movement, which spoke volumes. He would kind of understand and analyze situations based on feeling and energy, which was mind-blowing at the time. When you consider kind of us at this age, or in the past few years, where energy and stuff is predominant, and the amount of times we talk about it, for that to happen at that age, it was almost like learning another language. As the years went by, it became easier, of course, as you're living with it day in, day out, but also difficult as he was getting older, which meant he was in environments and situations where it required him to converse and voice his opinions more than ever. But it was all depending on his mood, I guess, because we kind of found out the way he is, obviously, it be through energy and how you approach him and whatnot. He warmed to people straight away, and others not so, which was fascinating. It was just like, how are you drawn to this person and not to this person you haven't spoke? So a lot of that kind of stuff, and you would instantly be able to tell, as he would be okay, loud, bubbly, not necessarily speaking, but you'd hear noises and things like that. Whereas others, he would look away, or he would look at myself for validity as to, is this person okay to kind of be around me, or
safe to be myself or
so
not?
He would look at, on one side it's loud, bubbly, if he's just met you. On the other side, it was, he's looking at us for confirmation, because he was unsure, and that happens until this day. Even as an adult, someone just comes into the house, you can kind of see based on him how he takes to that person.
Does he behave like very wary, just unsure of them?
It's just like he looks at them with the corner of his eye, or he would distance himself. And we still don't know why. There's no actual reason still that we know why. But I mean,
it could be analysing the situation to see.
That's the thing. I mean, you hear it with kind of, if someone's blind,
hearing
in heightened. I've always kind of seen it like that, where he doesn't really vocalize himself. That kind of stuff is heightened, so you can't put anything past him. Basically,
you can feel energies.
Exactly. So
auras. So I mean, when someone was supporting him, Micheal, did they have this communication style you explained?
In terms of learning his language and communication. To begin with, it was so difficult. To begin with, you had, I don't like really saying it, but you had people there that you could just tell it was a job for them. They were just there to collect the pay. I guess as he got older in secondary school, he had a carer that would take him to school, so they would pick him up from the house and drop him to the school. And there'd be the odd occasion where my dad kind of probably leaves the house a couple of minutes later just to check. And you had carers that would or this specific carer that would take him until we kind of got it changed. He would just be on the phone, speaking, texting, and my brother just beside her, just following because he had to. He knew how to get to school, which was very disheartening. But as the years have gone by, through persistence and research and whatnot, he's had better people around him, which has helped him a lot.
Right, so more experienced professionals, perhaps who are a bit more,
had
a more personal approach, and perhaps maybe more passionate. And
which is definitely what's needed in this world. Yeah,
I think what might be an advantage to the care industry perhaps could be as well having younger carers, younger carers with passion, who can relate to a younger individual. I think something like that would be really good. I think, as you were saying, your brother might be perhaps maybe a bit more cautious around individuals he may not be familiar with.
Yeah.
If you probably bring something a bit more relatable to him, a younger person, then he might feel, a bit more comfortable to open up, perhaps to be himself. And
you've definitely got to have people that genuinely care.
Yeah.
This can't be someone's job because it's pay, or they're just looking for a job.
How has this impacted yourself and your family?
So in terms of the family, of course, there's a massive language barrier from young. So whether that be meetings or letters, I was obviously taking control of all of that from a young age. For me personally,
how young would you say?
I mean, I can remember having to interpret things probably just after year 6. I remember just after the SATS period, that summer before I moved into secondary school. So, I mean, how old are we then? 11 years old, I think?
11 years old, I'd imagine.
Yeah, 11, 12. So that's my earliest memory of actually sitting down and having to translate things within a meeting for them, because obviously parents felt that because I'm with them every day, and obviously I'm their son and I can speak both languages, I was best suited to do that. And then it just became normal and natural for that. In terms of me personally, I wouldn't say it affected me. I'd probably say it shaped me to the person I am today. But there were the odd occasions where I would miss a class or two, for example, in college. When it was secondary school, it was obviously a no-go. But in college, you've got more flexibility. So I'd miss a class or two, knowing the severity of the meeting. I had to be there. I couldn't afford to not be there. So obviously parents didn't know. I just told them I had a free class, but I'll do that. So in terms of affecting, I probably missed a class or two, but overall it wasn't detrimental. I finished college, I finished uni, so that was fine.
Yeah. So I mean, how did this make you feel overall?
I guess, being involved in this from a young age, as I've said, earliest memory being like 11, 12, has played a massive part in the individual I am today. Things such as handling objections and questioning the status quo have become a norm now. I feel like I was born with it, so to speak. The ability to control meetings and feel comfortable in adult environments, whether that's dealing with teachers, psychologists, doctors, was something I carry with me in my work and day-to-day life till this day. So it's kind of been a blessing. It's been great. So I'm not complaining whatsoever.
Okay, so just to get an idea for yourself, what suggestions would you have for people that are in your situations, or families that are in similar situations, to help them navigate some of the stuff that you have discussed today?
I think it's key, because obviously a lot of families will not have an individual like myself who can, I guess, speak the mother language and English, that's able to interpret clearly and understand, and obviously be challenging and, like I said, challenge the status quo and not just take what you're given as just what it is.
Yeah.
Because there's always more that can be done. So I think maybe seeking someone who they know that, I guess having someone within their family that can follow them to a meeting, because obviously a lot of people may not speak English with someone with a disability. So if you haven't got that, you're already on the back foot, along with having obviously a child with a disability. So definitely doing that, requesting small things like an interpreter, which a lot of people don't even know they can get.
Right.
I guess I say other things as well.
Sounds like a support network would be really helpful, because you use a support network for your parents, weren't you? So.
Exactly, and that's the thing, and a lot of people don't have that. So what do you do when you're in a family that you don't speak English, you've got a child with a disability, you can't read or write? It's very, very difficult. So it's very difficult, and there's a lot of changes that need to be made as well within the
social care industry, health and social care.
Okay.
Yeah. What kind of changes do you feel that are necessary, that the industry need, or that families need, or?
100%. I mean, I've said this for years. There needs to be standardization across the whole board. Right. We've had our trials and tribulations, but now I can say we're in a space where we've got the right people and the right help. But that's come through years of battling, and like I said, the whole questioning and not taking what you're given as gospel, which a lot of people are not able to do, although they might want to. So there needs to be like the kind of people we have in our network now across the board, which a lot of people don't have, because it's just not fair. So there needs to be people that are educated in this, that have, cared for people in this. It can't just be a job. Your fundamental number one key thing has got to be the care for the individual. So that's what I mean, standardization across the board, and helpers that genuinely care and have a real interest in this.
It highlighted to me when you said challenging the status quo.
Yeah.
What kind of? Can you give us an example? What kind of situations you've incurred in the past where you've had to challenge the status quo?
To begin, I mean, early stages, you'd always hear like, "Oh, we deal with loads of kids like this. This is just how it is. This is what we're going to do." And it's just, I mean, for me, that just rubs me up the wall, because you just can't put everyone in the same box. Everyone, you may label them with a specific disability, but can this person speak?
Mm.
At that stage, my brother couldn't. So how are you putting everyone in this box?
Right.
He works off, like I said, more feelings, and he would kind of show what it was, not verbally communicate. So it's challenging those kind of things, whereas I can imagine some people are just told this information and accept it and move on.
Different forms of communication for different individuals. So
their child is not really developing, he's just kind of stuck in that same place. So it's just little things like that.
So like you're saying, currently in the industry, most practices are more not dynamic enough, very one-dimensional, if that makes sense.
Yeah, which is not good, because not everybody has the same disability. So that's just the kind of things I meant by challenging the status quo. But obviously, as time has progressed, the shift and change has been ridiculous. I mean, where we was to begin with in kind of disability within Hammersmith Fulham, because all I can speak from now, there's more teams and departments and networks that I've kind of opened up for them.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, brilliant. Well, hopefully, the industry starts picking up a bit more personal, more person-centered care. Really, I think that's perhaps something we need more. We need more person-centered care, more holistic approaches to care, and people who are genuinely just passionate about care, and not individuals who come into care because they feel it might be an easy industry to get into
and get paid.
And just get paid, really. So that's maybe something that needs to be promoted more.
Yeah,
maybe those are workshops that need to be, that need to start running.
Yeah, I mean, there are more. Exactly. There are more so than there was before.
Right.
But whether it's government cuts or things like that,
the infamous cuts.
there just isn't enough
resources. Yeah.
So there needs to be, and another key thing for me is there needs to be more kind of integration of people with disabilities in, like, so to speak, in speech marks, the real world.
Inclusiveness.
You can't just have them all together in in one hub, so to speak, because
Separate,
that's all they're going to know.
yeah.
Whether it's kind of, even if it's just a couple of hours in a real working environment, so to speak, if it's a simple stuff. I mean, for example, for my brother, managed to get that within his own college. Fridays he doesn't have classes, so it was difficult to get some sort of job. So I managed to speak to his head of year, and I managed to, is there anything he can do within the staff room or office? And eventually we got there.
Okay.
So it's stuff like taking documents from one floor to another, from one teacher to another, photocopying things, just being in that environment, because subconsciously they learn so much.
Yeah.
But once again, if you haven't got that individual like myself to do that and think outside the box, you're not kind of developing children the way they should. Right. So it's difficult, but it's all a part of this kind of, like I said, standardization. And
No, definitely. Michael, I would like to thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Definitely. So really, to our listeners, that's all for today, and this has been episode 2. So we covered quite a few heartfelt topics, and been fortunate to hear Michael's story and his family's experiences. So again, Michael, we thank you very much for coming around and spending time with us today.
No problem.
Is there anyone else you would want to acknowledge or who's helped you on your journey? Anyone you would want to?
Yeah, I guess just before I go, there's a few kind of departments, especially within the Hammersmith and Fulham disability team. There's one called HAFAD, stands for Hammersmith and Fulham Action on Disability. They do youth service projects. They provide leisure and education opportunities, support and training for independent for life skills, including employment, and develop progression routes for young disabled people. They've been fantastic. Another one as well as MenCap. Are you familiar with MenCap?
Very familiar. Yeah, great work. Fantastic work. Yeah.
The one that my brother goes to is the one in Hammersmith and Fulham, and that's all about empowering children and adults with disabilities to have their voices heard, promote well-being and development, and essentially promote freedom, choice, and control in a world where they don't really have that, because some may find it difficult to do so. They're fantastic. And there's also one lady named Radhika Lingham. She used to come to the house every Friday to support my brother, just to kind of take him to the next level with his language and speech, because she's the lead speech and language therapist, and she's based in the learning disability team. And she's probably the best person we've ever had. You could tell she's educated, worked with kids like this before. I've never seen him warm to someone like that ever, and he's changed dramatically since that. It was like a 6 program he had with her, so that was great. So she's definitely someone that I'd like to give a shout out to.
No, definitely. Thanks, Michael, for in effect letting our listeners know who to contact, or in effect similar people in those positions in their local authorities, and thanks again for giving insight into how you've managed to navigate your brother's development, and I believe our listeners will be extremely grateful for your insight. And to our listeners, if you have any questions on today's show or wish to participate in any future shows, please let us know, and you can find us at www.totalcareunit.com, or you can email us at info@totalcareunit.com. You can also follow us or message us at Twitter. Our Twitter is twitter.com/state_of_care. And this is Afra and Leonard again. Until next time, goodbye.